Da 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 da. Dun 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 dun.
Mon.
Maman.
It's my favorite week of the year.
Take it away, Monica. What are we doing today?
We're going to do a mini-sode on sharks.
Yay.
Okay. And?
Yeah. Oh, I'm supposed to lead this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
You're the shark expert.
in honor of Shark Week on the Discovery Channel, the guys of Asinine asked me to join in and I guess share a few shark facts. What do you guys want to know about Sharkies?
Just talk.
Okay, so
That's probably not very nice. Do you know much about the history of sharks?
I know that they have been around for over 450 million years. They were here before the dinosaurs, and they were here after, and they will probably be here long after we are gone.
Can Mike Tyson beat up a shark?
What kind of shark?
Any shark.
Mike Tyson in his prime or Mike Tyson now?
Well, Mike Tyson now looks pretty
I know.
strong.
That was a...
Mike Tyson versus the shark on land or in water?
Didn't they put Mike Tyson in the water with the shark?
That was last week, right?
That was on the that was the second night.
Did he win?
I haven't watched it yet.
He was just swimming. He was just down there in a suit. You know, he wasn't actually in his boxing gloves. I didn't see him actually punch any sharks, I don't think.
But you are supposed to punch a shark right in the nose if you're ever being attacked. So you're supposed to punch them right in the nose if they approach you. And they'll basically go, ah, jerk.
Why do you punch him in the nose?
You need to punch them in the nose because their nose, they don't have hands, right? So their nose is how they, their nose and their mouth are how they explore things. So you'll see a lot of footage of sharks like running, swimming up to things and like rubbing their faces on it just to see what it is. Like, are you food? Are you boat? What are you?
Hello, my name's Bruce.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi, Bruce. Fish are friends, not food.
Not food. So they'll rub their little faces on it and see what it is. And the reason that their noses are so sensitive is because they have lots of little pores on the underside of their snoots. And those are called the ampullae of Lorenzini. They're named after the guy who discovered them. They're like jelly-filled pockets. And it gives a shark a sixth sense. They can't see dead people. Well, they can see them after they eat them. But the ampullae of Lorenzini are jelly-filled, and they help pick up electromagnetic signals. So that's why a shark can sense a struggling fish up to over a quarter mile away. It'll be like, oh, my spidey senses are tingling. It's snack time.
What's the biggest megalodon alive today?
There aren't any megalodons.
Yes,
alive.
there are.
There aren't, baby. I'm sorry.
Bullshit, they made an entire movie
no,
about it.
I know. We like that movie. That was a fiction.
But if there was something that was still around from the ancient world, and I don't mean like ancient in terms of history. I mean like ancient, like millions of years ago ancient. It would be a shark or something, wouldn't it?
I mean, sharks have been around since before the dinosaurs. They've survived 5 mass extinctions.
Just not but they're much smaller versions than they used to be, right?
Much smaller. They're much smaller.
They didn't survive the flood though, because there was too much water for them to swim in, so they kind of died out.
You mean like Noah? I think they got 2 on the boat, didn't they?
I think so.
They had to get 2 on the boat. Otherwise, like they probably had a tank in
Of
the
each
bottom
kind
of
of
the boat.
shark.
Yeah.
Well, the megalodon was bigger than the boat.
Now, are they starting to go extinct? What's going on with them?
So it depends on the different species of shark, but scientists have estimated that within the next 100 years, sharks will be at least endangered. There are many species that are currently endangered and some that have gone full-on extinct, like megalodon.
You can blame that on Steven Spielberg and Jaws.
Actually, the author of the book wrote in like 2001, he never would have written the book if he realized the reaction it would cause, because people became so scared of sharks and like, oh, they're monsters, they're eating machines. I mean, yeah, but don't be where they are and it won't be a problem. They're not mindless killers. They're very intelligent.
Well, they do kill.
They do.
They kill about 400,000 people a year.
Yeah, no, close. In 2019, the International Shark Attack File said that there were about 100...
The what?
International Shark Attack File?
Is that really a thing?
Yes. Google it.
No, it's fine. I mean, it's like
Okay.
It just
it's
sounds
like
too
uniform
fake to
crime
be
reports,
true.
but for
Yeah.
sharks. I mean,
They said that worldwide...
What are we paying for?
They said worldwide there were about 100 human shark encounters. Now, encounter could mean with a boat, shark to human face to face. About 64 of those were unprovoked, and the rest were provoked. And of that, there were only 5 fatalities. I say only, but you do have a better chance of a coconut knocking you out and killing you than getting killed by a shark. And most bites are exploratory. That's the thing. Most bites aren't, I'm gonna kill you. It's, oh, are you a lunch? Ew, gross, human. Bye. But by then, they've already,
I want a pet shark.
I know.
I want a great white shark.
You
Yeah, but that wouldn't be
can't.
good for the shark, though.
No, they would. That's what we were
Because
talking.
Monica said, yeah, they can't live in captivity unless it's like a reservoir or something. If it's like a really large area, but other than that, they can't really live in captivity.
Yeah, I want an
Yeah.
island.
They cannot and should not live in captivity. Certain sharks can't. Some thrive. Like you can have whale sharks in a research facility as long as you give them the proper environment. But predatory sharks, large predatory sharks like great whites, makos, threshers, tigers, bull sharks, you cannot and should not have them in an aquarium because they will get confused. They'll literally get confused and dizzy and die. Sometimes they'll swim around so much. They're not used to swimming in circles like you kind of have to in an aquarium, when you swim in an aquarium. And they will lose track of where they are and they'll bump into the glass and they will literally die of too many concussions. I don't think they've kept a great white in captivity, in an aquarium for more than a few weeks at a time.
What about putting like a shock collar on a shark and like training it to come back to you?
Well, very good luck getting it on them and having them keep it on. They're very slippery.
What about them putting lasers on the heads?
If we could do that, could we get a pet laser
I've
shark?
seen it in a movie. I'm sure that it works.
Yeah, that movie was really scientifically accurate.
With lasers on their heads.
With lasers. So if we could figure
Number
out
2.
how to get a laser shark, could we keep one in the bathtub?
What?
I would say probably no. I think it would die.
Yeah.
I just think that I remember having like pet sharks when I was little, like the ones you put in aquariums, like the super
Aw,
small ones, like this
little
big.
guys.
They would eat all the other fish.
That's rude. It's kind of mean of you to
And
put
you
them
would
in with
do
the
this?
other fish.
Yeah, maybe we should get more into your psyche here. Figure out.
Well, you let it eat the fish and you document it, and then you draw pictures of it and you put it in your little child flip book.
A lot is making more sense now that I hear you say that.
Kind of like the squirrels, when you dissect squirrels when you're little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I cut their heads off and stuff and
Yeah, just like that.
pour blood on
Just
my
joking.
face. And
Sorry, PETA. All a joke. Anyhow, but no, sharks are driving me crazy right now. It's a long week. It's
been a
just
fun week
boring.
in our house.
I'm sorry, it's so boring.
It's not boring. What makes it what makes you think it's boring?
Because it's people driving around in boats looking at sharks
Well, that's where the sharks
for
live.
hours on end.
Yeah, because they're not always there.
But it doesn't change.
No, they find them eventually.
I get that they find them, but like what I'm saying is when you see one shark swim, it's like, ooh, yeah, that shark has a smirk on it and it's swimming by us. But then it's like, okay, that shark swim by. Oh look, there's another shark. It's swimming by me. Mm-hmm. Okay, hold on. Okay, there's another shark.
Mm-hmm.
They just get bigger or mean looking. I mean, I don't know. It's fascinating if you watch a documentary on it, but for an entire week.
They're trying to really mix it up this year with Shark Week. I know they had Shack Attack the other night, so Shack was on there. He got in the water and swam with a little zebra shark, which aren't going to hurt you. But then he...
That's how desperate they're getting. They're getting so desperate, they're putting Will Smith.
Yeah, Will Smith was awesome.
They're putting Shaq.
Adam Devine's on there right now.
They're putting Mike Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
They're putting all these people in the water. It's just like, come on, bro.
well, I guess
They get to swim with
maybe
sharks.
because I'm guessing I'm guessing some of that money goes to reservation type stuff or preservation of areas where sharks can live or something. I'm guessing the more money that goes to it, it's actually going to help sharks, right?
I would certainly hope so.
I guess I don't know much about Shark Week, but I would assume that there's a reason why they're doing it, and probably awareness is a piece of it.
I was really disappointed in yesterday's episode because it was about great white sharks. Mm-hmm. They're 9 feet long.
The juveniles are 9 feet long.
Yeah, I know. So the ones they were trying to get the sharks to breach the water, and so they would come up from about like 20 feet underneath the water. They would see the fake sea seal.
Yeah, they trail fake seals.
And then they would hit it and breach, and it was pretty cool because they get out of the water. But then they're just 9 feet long, and so they're like boring sharks. I want to see like the 24-foot great white shark.
Yeah,
You may not
we
see.
should throw like a group of humans in there and like make it like a contest, kind of like the Hunger Games, and make it interesting.
I volunteer as tribute.
Oh God.
Did
That
you
sounds
say
awesome.
Did you say something about only a couple different sharks or a couple different places? Sharks jump out of the water.
Yes. So there are
South
a
Africa,
few.
right?
Yes, South Africa is one of them. California is the other. Are two known spots where great white sharks can breach. And I actually did a little bit of research on why that is. Remember, I couldn't answer the other day.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, because it's cool. It's a mixture of the population of the seals and the geography of the landscape underneath the water in that area. It allows for them to dive deep and then swim up and get enough speed to breach. Now, that you'll see that a lot off the tip of South Africa, and then you'll see that in California sometimes. There are other sharks that can breach, like the mako shark, the short-fin mako shark, which is what was in the movie Deep Blue Sea, which I could do a whole episode on that. And then the thresher shark can also breach, which is interesting. So, I mean, they can come out of the water. They can fly.
So there's an article from USA Today, and it's drones reveal shark fest. The U.S. Bites remain rare.
Yeah.
While the Discovery Channel sets television audiences abuzz each summer with its annual Shark Week, emerging access to drone video is helping scientists and beachgoers better understand how those predators share the surf zone in real life. And it shows a picture of like a surfer and the shark swimming right by him. And that's kind of cool because that it's very common. Let's see here. Drones, accessible and affordable, are absolutely fantastic, says Stephen Kohara, I think that's his name, a shark specialist and professor at Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton. They give you a top-down view of what that has been a boom to research. Let's see here. The United States average of around 44 unprovoked shark bites a year over the past 20 years, according to records kept by the International Shark Attack File. So it is a real thing, Jesse. There's even a hyperlink to it. At the Museum of Natural History in the University of Florida, there were 40 reported shark attacks in the U.S. last year. Only 4 coast states have reported shark bites over the past 20 years: Alaska, Connecticut, Maryland, and New Hampshire. While shark encounters provide dramatic content for Shark Week, which kicked off last Sunday, they remain exceedingly rare considering how many people enter the water.
I'm looking at some kind of a chart on megalodons. And
they're sweet.
Well, it's on Wikipedia, but I'm assuming that it's correct because I was thinking that whale sharks. Well, it's just showing in terms of size. Whale sharks are the biggest sharks that are alive today, right? In terms of length, and size, but they're not really aggressive, though, are they?
No, whale sharks are actually one of the most docile sharks.
That's what I thought. Because I was going to say I think I've watched some specials on them before, and they show the differences in size, and then they go up to like the conservative and the maximum. Megalodon sizes, and you're talking about it's showing megalodons at about 60, about 60 feet long.
The whale sharks aren't even close.
The whale shark.
I was thinking they were like 20 something or 25 or so.
Great whites. The biggest great white on record right now. Her name is Deep Blue, and she is off the coast of Hawaii. She's approximately 30 years old, and I believe she is. You might want to fact check me. She's at least 22 feet long. She makes an appearance every now and again, but that's a big great white. So you're going to see your average great white anywhere between like 18 to 20 feet. A megalodon would have topped out at, they say 50 to 70, but a great white shark is going to be about 60, a great white shark, a whale shark's going to be about 65 feet long and weigh about 75,000 pounds.
You got to Google megalodon, and it's amazing. There's some great photos.
I like how the megalodon is like, yes, it's like a bigger great white, but their snoots are rounder for some reason. Like they all the artistic renderings of them, their noses are like rounder and flatter.
That's ridiculous.
Aren't they cute?
National Geographic has some weird shit.
Look at this photo.
National Geographic has.
That's a huge shark.
There was a picture in maybe.
Can you imagine swimming in the ocean and like?
You'd be dead.
Well, just imagine the shit that was alive back then.
I mean, it's like a 12-foot. Like if you're standing in the mouth, like it's like a 12-foot span.
Imagine the size of its heart.
Who knows all the shit that was in the ocean before? I mean,
yeah, it's fascinating.
I would love to see. I mean, there's probably still some weird shit, but no, National Geographic has some weird stuff, like the headlines.
National Geographic kind of lost. I kind of lost faith in them a few years ago for Shark Week because they showed a picture of a blue shark. It was like a big entire page feature of a picture of a blue shark, and it was a beautiful picture. It was crazy lighting. It was amazing. Its little weird eyes were looking at. It was great. And the caption was like, "A tiger shark stalks the reef," and I'm like, okay, now that ain't a tiger shark. I Snapchatted my friend Aubrey, and I was like, "This ain't a tiger shark," and she was like, "I saw that too."
Here's what. Go ahead.
So I was just type in to Google, and this I love Google sometimes. You type in biggest sea monster. Gold.
Is it the Kraken?
So biggest sea monster ever. So we'll click that one too. It pops up.
It's the Kraken.
And also, there is a report out there that says live megalodon in the what's the trench called? The
Mariana Trench.
The Mariana Trench.
And it's not. There's no megalodons.
So here's what
Could be though, couldn't it?
There'd have to be at least a few because they would have to make babies.
So they did some scientific research.
But the ocean's
and
big.
There's at the very bottom of the Mariana Trench. If you go below it, there was like this ice capsule, and everything below it is where all the monsters live.
Baby,
Is
that
that
was
real?
also no. That was the movie Megalodon with Jason Statham.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, like, sounds
that
good.
movie.
It was so cute. I loved when that movie came out. I was so excited. The day after we got engaged, Matt took me to see The Shallows, and I was like, "This is the best 2 days of my life."
Dude, okay, look at this. So this is like a this is sea
Is this
creatures
real?
in Subnautica. That's they.
Oh,
Those are
Subnautica's a
artistic.
game, isn't it?
Yeah,
Those
I
are
think so.
artistic
I
renderings.
think Ash might play that game.
But could you imagine like seeing something like?
Dude, I get.
Yeah.
Well, there's still some messed up shit down there. There was a bunch of weird stuff, and we don't even know. We have no idea. Like, we have such a small percentage of probably things that actually existed.
Look at this.
We know more about space than
It's
we
like
do
a-
about the bottom of the ocean.
So this
Oh,
is
yeah.
this is like a huge piranha. It's like a 78-foot piranha.
It looks like a Marlboro,
Can you
know,
put
like
him
from
up on
the
the
all the
screen?
games and stuff.
Yeah. Huh?
Can you put him up on the screen?
We can like later on.
Cool. Yeah, no, that looks horrible.
But like I could just imagine like you're like a little clipper ship and you're just like sailing out in the sea like you're like Columbus like we're go find America and then like you're like sailing out in the sea and like damn and you look at something like the some of the biggest sea monsters that do exist are probably those oversized octopuses,
Giant squid, yeah.
giant squids.
Well, there's a couple different. There's actually multiple types, right? Because there's giant squid and there's isn't there a second type of that?
We'd have to get a squid expert in here.
Well,
Well, how do you know so much about sharks but know nothing about squids?
Well,
So
'cause
I
I've
think-
watched the specials on them, but I want to say there's at least two giant.
Oh wow! There's footage. January 27, 2013.
Yeah.
Thing is massive.
Yeah, well, they found a couple dead ones as well.
Yeah, they wash up on shore all the time and they study those. So when they finally got the footage of the live one, I think the first
Okay.
one they ever caught on camera, I was in my senior year of high school and they caught that on camera and my professor just super nerded out about it.
This is from April 30th, 2018.
Uh-huh.
Giant squid, the largest ever captured or recorded, was 43 feet long.
I think the other one
That's
might be
insane.
I think the other one might be the colossal squid.
Oh, I see it right
But there's
here.
multiple. I want to say that there's multiple types. But yeah, some of these are huge because they used to. I can't remember, but it was some years ago when they'd found like I don't know if it was I don't remember what kind of well it was, but it was a big well and it had like gigantic like wounds on it that looked like it had been grabbed by just a gigantic squid or something like that.
Their beak
So,
will mess you, up.
and so that that one was just whatever. But I think they also found them around Japan as well. I think there was some Japanese fishermen that were finding some of them out there.
So you think about fishermen and you hear like something that's always amazed me, and you hear stories like Moby Dick, and you hear of like sea monsters attacking ships because that's like a prominent story about fishermen, right? Mm-hmm. So was there a point in time where humans, it's just kind of always stuck with us, like through our the way humans have adapted over time to their natural environment and kind of evolved? Has that been a thing that's always existed? Like, you talk about these ancient civilizations. Imagine, like, for example, 10,000 years ago, there was like this huge flood that the guy that was on Joe Rogan's podcast was talking about 10,000 years ago.
Randall Carlson
Yes.
and Graham Hancock.
Graham Hancock,
I'm actually a big fan of both.
I love them,
dude. Hancock gets a little crazy, but I really enjoy those podcasts together.
And they talk about like the ripples in the land that shows like where the water came up, and it's like huge ripples. Like you can like drive over them, or you can't drive over them; they're so big. And but like you start talking about like we can record 10,000 years ago. We know there was a traumatic event that happened to the Earth.
Well, yeah,
We can prove that now.
it's all based on the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis theory. That there was something that either struck the Earth, or maybe there was a series of strikes that potentially might have caused also some kind of great flood as well. Just because of at that time we were coming out of the Ice Age that helped accelerate the coming out of the Ice Age, which caused a major flood
Just imagine
in
if
some way.
Atlantis existed.
I think it existed. I think it did.
I do too. But Rob Lowe and Rogan were talking about that too. And Rob Lowe's like this huge. Okay, so there's a thing called the Lowe Files that Rob Lowe did on A&E. I really want to find out. And he went out and looked for Bigfoot, and he looked for poltergeist and all this other stuff. And if you watch our channel and you won't go to Facebook, we stream live ghost events. And I was like, Rob Lowe, man. Can you imagine doing a ghost hunt with Rob Lowe?
So you guys like the Lowe files, but you have to question if the International Shark Attack file is a real thing.
I just found out about the Lowe files. I hadn't even seen it.
Ah.
It just sounds fake. The International Shark
fun.
Files.
I've never heard of it before.
So I found an article, and I love the internet. So this is from the Telegraph. Experts move a step closer to uncovering the mystery of the German submarine attacked by a sea monster in World War II.
That was a giant squid.
That's
And
cool.
look at the picture on this thing. This thing is gnarly.
That is not a real thing. What is that? That is
It's
not
just
a,
a
that's not a
rendition.
thing.
A German captain is believed to have claimed a sea monster attacked his ship in World War II.
It's an angry Nessie. Hey, you want to hear about a shark attack in World War II?
Sure.
Okay, so in 1945, a ship with like 300 Americans went down because it got bombed, and it went down in the Pacific, and the people survived for, I want to say it was 6 days, but a bunch, not, okay, let me rephrase. The ship went down, and people were grabbing onto everything they could to float, and it was bad, and then there were oceanic white-tip sharks, which are the fourth most dangerous shark to humans. So there were oceanic white-tip sharks, and they slowly started picking off all the people who survived, and I think they only pulled like 50 people out of the water. You might have to fact-check me on that, but oceanic white-tips are no joke, and they would just come, and they would stalk, and they wouldn't attack the people in groups. They'd wait for somebody to go off on their own, because sharks aren't going to attack a group of people. They're going to go off for the weird guy in the corner. So that's what they did, and they ate almost everybody. And if someone died of like exposure or dehydration, they just kind of pushed them away.
Well, what's interesting about that, I have a secondhand story about that kind of issue, because I had my uncle. Was it his father? It was one of his family members. It was fighting in the Pacific Theater. My grandfather also fought in the Pacific Theater, but it wasn't him. It was through my uncle, and you know, on my Augustine side of my family. Which is funny.
Yeah.
How many times are you two related?
But what had happened was their ship had went down in the Pacific, and there was two guys that were trying to get another guy back to land. And by the time they finally swam him back to land, after the boat had exploded, whatever had happened, his body had been eaten. Half his body had been eaten.
Yeah.
And he, of course, he died. But not my family member, but the person who
Just because he was wounded.
Yeah, he
then
got him to
swam the
land,
water.
and when they were swimming him to land, sharks ate half of his body.
Yeah, especially if you're getting closer to the shore, they're gonna attack there,
Dude,
because
good
you've
on
got
them
your
for like carrying the rest of the body. Not abandoning it.
From my understanding, the way the story was told to me, and like this was a secondhand story, this was not the firsthand story, was that they did not know that he was that badly hurt.
I'm sure if they'd known, they would have let him go.
Like, I mean, I would imagine that it was pretty that everybody was kind of freaking out after.
Kind of chaotic,
going
down.
And they just didn't know that this was all kind of going on, and if it was one of those situations where there was already shark infested water, there probably are things that are tugging on you, and you're just trying to get out of the water, and trying to save as many people as you can.
I just imagine how many sharks you swim with every time you go into the ocean. It's quite a bit.
Probably a lot, because it's you'll hear stories of surfers be like, yeah, I see them out there all the time, but they haven't hurt me yet. And the way to, so I'll give you the top 5 most dangerous sharks to humans. At number 5, you've got the short fin mako, which you're only really going to encounter if you are deep sea swimming. Why you're deep sea swimming? I don't know. It's not my jam. Number 4, the oceanic white-tip, like I talked about, also a deeper sea fish. You've got the tiger shark, which surfers hit up a lot in Hawaii. Tiger shark will attack, and they are very, they're not picky, let's put it that way, and they're big. They're 16-ish feet. Then you've got the bull shark, which is very dangerous to humans just because of the proximity. Bull sharks can practice osmoregularity, so they can hold on to a bunch of extra salt in their bodies, so they can carry that salt with them into fresh water and use it to regulate the balance of salt versus water. And no other sharks can do that we know of. There's other fish that can do it, but no other sharks. So bull sharks can go up rivers. They can end up in lakes. After Hurricane Katrina, they were reporting sharks in the streets, in the water, bull sharks. And bull sharks, I think they can only get about to 8 to 10 feet, but they are incredibly tenacious, and they will eat you for funsies even if you don't taste good. Fun fact, Jaws, the original story of Jaws in New Jersey in 1916, the original story that inspired Jaws was actually, looking back, a bull shark, not a great white shark, because all they really knew about was great whites at that time, if they knew anything. And it was actually, they say a bull shark because it was so far inland in a river. So they say that it was actually a bull shark that killed a bunch of kids. And then you've got the classic great white shark, and that can be shallow, that can be deep sea, that can be, they just want to take a bite. But most of the great white shark bites are exploratory. They're not meaning to kill you. Once they realize you're not a yummy seal, they don't want you. But by then, the damage is done.
Do you think there's monsters in space, just like floating around out there that can actually like exist in space?
I mean, I feel like no, but I mean, when you think about like all the extreme environments that stuff can live in, that maybe there, I would imagine not, but I mean, it'd be pretty crazy. I mean, I can't imagine that'd be true. You think it would have to be on some kind of on a planet with some kind of atmosphere.
Is that just our?
But I don't know.
Incapability
but I mean,
of
at the same
thinking?
time, the universe is incredible. So I don't know what could be out there.
We have not even brought up Nessie,
Who's Nessie?
the Loch Ness Monster. In the Loch Ness?
Can you?
But the Loch Ness Monster was not a shark.
No, but I'm sure adorable.
Yeah, it's not like really a monster though. It's just, it seems too pretty or too cutesy
It
to
seems
be a
adorable.
monster.
We have ladles upstairs that look like Nessie. It's so cute.
You guys watch Gargoyles? The
No.
old school cartoon.
The cartoon,
You never seen it?
back in the day.
In one of the things, 'cause I was watching through it with Ezra, and in one of them, there's this bad group. They're faking these Nessie sightings, and that's what they're using, like this metal one. But there ends up actually being a few real ones that they like capture. But I know, totally doesn't matter. But Gargoyles is a great show. You should definitely watch it. It's kind of a weird episode though.
I remember gargoyles.
Never seen it.
I want to ask you guys, what's your favorite kind of shark, Jesse?
I'm not sure if I have a favorite kind of. Everybody would say great white, right? That's just what they do. A killer whale is actually it's a dolphin. It's a dolphin, right?
Killer whale. I think they are closely related to dolphins.
What about Greenland sharks? What about
Oh, like that
I
one,
could say
the
one.
400-year-old Greenland sleeper shark. It is 400 years old. No, they did not cut it open and count its rings. They took a bunch of measurements on this one shark that they found in off the waters of Greenland, and they've actually found a few that they estimate to be a couple of 100 years old. This one that they recorded is a female, and they think she's about 427 years old. So think about all the nonsense she's seen, and she is still floating around out there. She can't see. Most Greenland sleeper sharks are blind because parasitic worms attach to their eyes, so they usually just kind of bump around in the darkness. But they're still pretty. They'll eat like reindeer that fall into the water and stuff. They'll eat.
Megalodon's my
That sounds
favorite.
like my diet. Just kind of just rummage around. Eventually, I find something.
I'm still Megalodon type of
Okay.
guy.
Okay, babe.
He's still alive
Okay.
or she's still alive.
There's got to be a few because they got to keep populating.
So if you go to the Mariana Trench, go beneath the frosted layer, there's a bunch of sea creatures down there just hiding out.
No, I mean,
with the
say.
aliens.
the sea is huge, but you would think that eventually something like this would be caught coming to the surface. Now, I mean, not that there haven't been a lot of sightings of things that they didn't know what they were, but if any place, I mean, really, there's only a couple places where anything for millions upon millions of years could survive, right? One would be the air, the other one would be in the water, and so if there was something really cool.
Or deep in a forest somewhere. It's like some of these ancient Indian, or not, I shouldn't say
It'd
Indian,
have to be a place
indigenous is what I meant
almost
to say.
untouched, though.
Like the
and there are some
indigenous.
places that are basically
Yeah.
untouched.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible, but I just think if one of those if something was going to exist,
Why do you think we haven't been back to
potentially could be a megalodon.
Antarctica yet? I mean,
it's
who
possible.
knows
Well,
what's
you-
hiding over
oh,
there
you
in
haven't
the
seen
ice?
you haven't seen The Thing either, have you?
Well, that's why the Earth's flat. I'm telling you.
You haven't seen the movie The Thing, though, have you?
No.
Because it's
you're-
all about Antarctica.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
If the Earth
so-
was flat, all the sharks would fall off.
No, they can't because of the ice. Is holding
yeah, the
everything
ice
off.
is
Oh, the ice is holding-
basically keeping
gotcha.
it's like a giant bowl kind of.
I
Yeah.
didn't realize. Now I know.
with like a turtle shell.
Yeah, so but I mean, it would be almost like a round thing of ice on the edge, and then they probably would just keep going in circles and eventually die by hitting the sides, right?
Yeah, because they're not supposed to swim in circles.
Yep.
All right,
In
well, we need
captivity.
take it out. Take it out, Monica.
All right, if you want to stay safe from sharks, if you're going into the waters, know what time of year it is, know what kind of sharks go in that area during that time of year. Don't wear jewelry. Try not to have too bad of tan lines because they're attracted to contrast. And if you do get bit by a shark, punch it in the nose. If it already has you in its mouth, punch it in the eyes or gills. But if you can avoid punching sharks, go ahead and avoid it. Look at them from a safe distance. They keep our ecosystem balanced. They're wonderful creatures. Please don't eat shark fin soup. Practice ethical. Use your metal straws. Sharks are really cool, and they're also related to stingrays. So if you care about stingrays, you care about sharks.
Good job, Monica.
Thank
All right.
you.
See you guys.
Bye.